Friday Night Flies, Scotty.
Friday Night Flies with Scotty Holmes and the boys, Big Bad Brad and Boulder and Sheridan are all here tonight, and my daughter Reese is hanging out with us as well. So we're all just sort of hanging out here, and we're talking fishing and tying some flies. I myself tonight am tying a steelhead fly. I'm tying a steelhead shrimp. I've been wanting to tie one of these for a while. I've seen a lot of them. They seem to be pretty complicated patterns. Mine's hopefully not as complicated and doesn't take quite as long. I think we're probably into it for like about maybe 12, 15 minutes. I'm hoping somewhere in there.
I'm going to say 35.
Okay, so we have the
starting now.
The call is on. Okay, 35 minutes from now. Okay, no, it has to start from when I start actually tying.
Okay, we're down there. You can have a look at it.
Okay.
Tell us what we got here.
Okay, well, what we have here is we have a shrimp on a size 2 hook using not a lot of materials. I'm basically using Polarbear and UV chenille with rib and some eyes and a little bit of rubber legs for the mouth feature there. Just to have a little bit of movement right around the hook of the curve of the hook. I think is gonna help create some action with this fly. And there's all sorts of chenille coming off the bottom, and we got our Polarbear that's been split there by the back and is sticking out there. So beautiful. And I'm hoping to have a log. I've never fished it yet. Like, this is just the first time pattern, so I'll let you know. I'm going to be trying it over the next little bit, and I'll let you know how it goes. But I mean, you could use this to catch anything where there's shrimp. I'm calling it a steelhead shrimp because it's in pink, and shrimp generally are not pink until they're peeled and cooked.
But pink is awesome.
But pink is awesome, and with that red back on there, it's just an attractor fly all the way through.
Honestly,
okay.
Who are we trying to impress? The ladies, right? So.
Yeah, always trying to impress the ladies. So I like the Polarbear. It's got a nice bucktail effect. It's going to split and come back and split and come back, causing a lot of water movement. Is what I think. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to go there, and I need to get my hook in the shank, or my hook in the vise. Sorry.
All right.
And we're going to start going. Where the heck is my thread? My thread's over there. Oh no, actually it's right here. Sorry, it's right at my. Okay, so there we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off by tying in the thread.
Just one of these two on the end here.
Just in case you hear that, right now we got some guy and he's buying a knife, I think. Nice, a buck knife. So we're going to tie in our thread, and then we're going to cut our round rubber legs, and we'll cut a piece off there. Then I'm going to cut it into 2.
What about this orange handled one down here?
And I've tied this with like 3 or 4 pieces. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get some action at the back, right around the hook, and it's going to help to rebound some of those materials and create the effect of the mouth of the shrimp, or the mandibles of the shrimp, whatever they are. So we're going to tie that back to it there.
Yeah, I imagine they're pretty accurate, but I just want to make sure.
We're going to trim off these legs, get rid of them.
Why did you choose to go unweighted, Scott?
All right, buddy. Good enough. I'll sign my check. Yes, you can.
Because it's like I said, this is just a whole series of flies that I'm tying. To add weight into it, I didn't think was as big of a deal. I'm also thinking that it's winter. I'm going to be fishing it in the winter, so things are going to be fairly low. Yep. You know, I put on a type 5, type 8 sink tip. Should get that thing down there. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
Contrary to what most people think, you don't need a bottom drag for steelhead.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that I'm going to have a lot better fishing action if it's not banging off the bottom the whole time. I'm going to get a lot more movement of the whole fly, right?
Nice.
So that was kind of the thought there. And you know what? If I need to add a little bit of weight to it, I can do that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so, and you don't want these too long. If you get too long, then they're gonna get caught up. They're just there to, oh, no, I cut them a little bit short, but that's fine. Don't pull on them when you go to cut them. That's the whole key there. Okay, so where's our red chenille? So
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Lesson of the day.
Yeah, don't pull on them when you go to cut them. So we're gonna tie in just a little bit of red chenille, just to create a little bit of a dubbing ball here on the end. And you could use dubbing. You could use like a fluorescent dubbing if you wanted, or any. Oh, actually, what am I doing? Okay, we got that tied in there. We need to tie it in, but before we move any further, we're going to tie on our Krystal flash. And I would say anywhere from 2 to 4 strands, somewhere in there. Depends on what you want. Just going to tie that on.
Don't cut yourself. You know what? Something like that would have worked.
And I don't want to go right to the barb of the hook. I want to keep it back a little bit. You don't want to crowd that hook with a big fish like that. And then I'm going to tie my red chenille.
I bet you that fly would work good in the tropics too. I bet. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Like I just got back from Hawaii. A lot of my friends know, and we were marlin fishing and tuna fishing, but we snuck away a couple days and did a little bone fishing.
Bone fishing, I'd love to go. I've never been bone fishing. I'd love to go.
Yeah, we got that off my bucket list a few years back, but finally got to check blue marlin and ahi tuna or yellowfin tuna off the bucket list this year. So.
I've caught those. I've never caught blue marlin though. Sorry, I never caught one of those. I wish. I wish. Okay, so we have our chenille on there. And now we're going to tie on our eye. So this is where we're going to stop for a second, and I'm going to build an eye. I have some built, but I'm going to show you how to build one. So what you do is you take, this is the 30-pound mono. What you do is you take, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but...
Yeah, no, just keep it close to the fly. Yeah, a little bit back toward the fly, a little bit more.
Well, I don't want to start the fly on fire.
That would be awesome.
So I find building or letting it just catch on fire and then blow it out, that seems to work best.
Change counting's got something.
And there you go. So you can do it slowly. You can just kind of roll it up. I find that it tends to get brittle and breaks. And then from there, I gotta let it dry. And I'm gonna take a little bit of UV paint.
And that's in the orange, eh?
This is orange.
That's what it looks like anyhow.
I got one little one today.
As you can hear, it's pretty busy in the background.
Yeah, lots of things
We are
going on.
still
Okay.
open. The next show will be a whole lot quieter because we'll be closed. We close at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard.
So there we go. And what that does, that just bulks up the eye. Gives it a little bit more prawny, shrimpy look to it. And then from there, and you can also see that you can see the blackness from where it was burnt down below. It sort of gives it a little bit of texture. And then from there, then I go and I start coloring. And I usually will color all of the mono that's going to be visible. Put a little bit of color in there. It's better to wait until that top piece is fully cured. So basically what we have there is we have the eye, color it, do a better job than I've just done there because that's pretty crappy, but that's fine. We're going to try it, but as I said, I have some ready to go here that my daughter colored for me.
Don't.
And if you're gonna do a few flies, tie up or do a few eyes ahead of time. This break in the middle takes time. So I want them to be about a little bit longer than the the point from the shank of the hook there, or from the curve of the hook.
You read it?
Yeah.
Dude, I forgot it.
Called Medusa.
And then where did that other one go? There it is.
I put the guy's tires full.
Make sure they're the same length.
And then that's gonna be great. That's what's up.
Oh.
Check that off the bucket list.
Okay, and then you want to just trim all of this so that it just
There's way more to come in there.
is just slightly shorter than right there, so that I'm keeping my body nice and tapered. And then you're going to cinch it up to where you want to start the rest of the fly. Oh, sorry, Sheridan. Get rid of that. Okay, so we need to tie in. Oh, we won't tie that in first. We'll do the thin skin. So I'm going to cut a piece of thin skin in a nice, something similar to that, but a little bit thicker. Maybe about 1.5 inches in length, maybe a little bit shorter. And then I'm just going to trim the one end so that it's tapered, kind of like that. Let's just make sure it's going about this right way. Yeah. Boom, boom.
There you go.
Done. Okay, so we're going to tie on our thin skin, and we're going to put it so that it's facing forward towards the eyes.
What a beast.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it didn't hold back
Boom.
at all, did I? Threw it right out there on the cutting board.
Okay. There we go. So we got our thin skin in, and just check to make sure that it's going to turn out the way you want it, like so. And then we're going to tie on our rib. Somewhere. There's the end.
Get the deckhand. Make it bigger. That's because it's actually causing you to hold it now. So let it go to the
And I'm going to tie that all the way back. And then I'm going to tie on my last piece of chenille.
Yeah, I had no idea the fishing was doing that. It was crazy. It's not That's awesome. Put it on you, buddy. Kids had a blast.
Okay.
Very much daddy's mine. Yeah, I had a great time.
Tuck that off over there. Okay, so now we're going to put on, and you could tie that on after as well. You could tie it on after you put on your polar bear. I'm trying to reduce the size of the fly so it doesn't get too bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to pull out all that fluff.
Venture.
I'm going to put a piece on the left side or the right side. Depends on which side you're on.
So, just sign it. Make sure.
And you want to try to use the curve of the fur, the natural curve of the fur as well.
Do you want it to follow the body or away from the body?
Yeah, you want it to come curve in towards the body, just like a crab claw or a lobster claw. If you have a piece of Velcro, I have one here. You can comb that stuff out of there as well. It comes out pretty easy. tie that on. And then we're going to tie on the top.
That's a sophisticated tie, bro. Hey?
No, you know what? I don't think it is. I think it's for these prawn patterns that I've seen some of them that take, I mean, with our talking, I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I've seen ones that take 45 minutes just to tie the, or, you know, 30, 35 minutes just to tie the pattern without any talking, right? Just full on, just fly tying. And I tied on in 3 sections. I've done it where I try to tie it all on in one clump. And I just find that it doesn't overly matter. I'm going to trim it back. Just make sure you got it on there really good. And then we're going to just taper all of these fibers to the eye of the hook, so that when you bring it in, you don't have a whole bunch of stuff sticking back. And all that stuff you trim off anytime with polar bear, anything you cut off, everything you cut off is usable. You can just take it and throw it in a blender, blend it together with other stuff, other types of dubbing.
That's the thing with polar bear. It's no joke. That stuff is expensive, and it's not easy to come by. We're just lucky here in Canada. We're actually allowed to use it.
Okay, so we just bound up the polar bear. And now we're going to wrap our chenille. I'm going to pick it all out, like there's, and comb it after. Once I get it all on there, so I'm not going to panic too much about it at this point. Get it on. And this pattern, I mean, just it's the basic steps. I mean, you could use the same process to make a different color shrimp, right? I saw one on the internet I really liked that was using a speckled thin skin that looked pretty cool. It was a lot smaller, mind you, but it still was a pretty neat effect. So we'll trim that baby like that. Make sure that it's all nice and secure. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to effectively, I'm just going to turn it towards me for a second here, try to separate all of the polar bear like that. And then I'm going to pull the thin skin back like so. It ends up looking kind of like that. See it? Yeah. Okay. So make sure that you keep that sitting nice and level on top. Oh. And when you bring a wire through, you got to bring it through underneath. And the same thing here. I'm not overly picky about. I just want to get my wire wraps looking nice, and I'll pick out the fibers afterwards. Break that off.
Yeah, I got introduced to the shrimp fishing with the fly rod this year, pretty heavy with the pink salmon rod. Oh my God.
There's some rivers that shrimp patterns really work well on, like the Cowichan River, the shrimp pattern works there.
Patterns, man, I tell you.
Maybe not this pattern, but like I said, this is a steelhead pattern. This is a real tractor pattern, you know, it's not really looking like a real shrimp, other than maybe in the
silhouette.
In the silhouette, yeah. I mean, but shrimp are not pink until you cook them, right? They're not red, but I mean, pink and red patterns. And I mean, you could trim this tail and just take it down the center here like this. Trim it off. That one's a little bit, should come off a little bit further. Something like that. So yeah, there you go. Basically, that's it. I think we're almost there.
That's a good looking pattern, bud. That looks really good.
I'm choking. And then yeah, then you can just pick it out underneath. If I had my so you get the basic idea, and you can spend a whole lot of time and pick all out, and you'll get lots of action. The one thing I want to show you about this fly,
UV.
the UV, and that natural polar bear, it's got this blue translucency to it.
It's almost better if you pull it away from it a bit. It almost makes it like really
Like
glow.
this.
Here.
You show me.
Just a little away from it. That way. Yeah. Can you see it like that?
A little closer. There you go.
Yeah. If you get too close with it, it just really makes it
white.
just white blur. But this way, it'll show you what it does. Flip it over on the underside. Let's see what the underside looks like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can really see it. I can see it from here. But yeah, you can see that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so there you go. And the little trick here that I really like about this fly, there's two little things, is using the UV paint for the eyes. Saves a lot of time. Scotty was also talking, we were talking about it, and you could lacquer that as well, or you could, if you didn't have the UV paint, you could just keep dipping that little ball in the lacquer and pulling it out, letting it dry, pull it out, let it dry, pull it out, let it dry. That's probably a better eye, I would say. It's going to last better and it's going to be more durable. But you can fix them. Like if the UV peels off, I have that UV paint with me always. So yeah, you just put another daub back on there and there you go. So there you go. Give her a try. Tell us what you think. Scotty's coming up. He's got a couple flies to tie. Other than that, yeah, good fishing. Ice fishing is getting to be full on here. The ice is getting thick.
We're still keeping that quiet.
Okay, yeah, it's not fully thick. Don't go ice fishing because you're going to catch nothing. That's what I'm saying, okay? But if you do want to catch lots of fish, call the boys up. Call Scotty. Call Brad. Go ice fishing. I got my new boots. I got my Baffin Island thermal. They're rated to a -100
Celsius. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
100 Celsius. My feet were soaking wet all last year ice fishing, and I tried to get some.
This year,
Yeah, but they're going to be toasty warm. It's like I'm going to have astronaut boots on. Is what I'm going to have.
That's
on
right. Check us out, PembertonFishFinder.com. Get out. Let's do some ice fishing this winter.
Okay. Well, Friday Night Fives, Scotty Holmes. Until next time, bang.